Hello and thank you for joining us. It is third quarter financial results with Volition RX. We are in the heart of the West Country in the UK, where I'm going to be catching up with various members of the leadership team. After I've spoken to the leader himself, Cameron Reynolds, of course, President and Chief Executive of Volition RX. Cameron, give us the overview to start us off.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Obviously, this quarter we saw a five-fold increase in the vet revenue, but that's obviously not the big ramp we're expecting to happen quite soon. Now the companies are bedded in that have launched. We're just launching a range of companies now in the UK. We're expecting some more in Asia, and also we're expecting Heska to launch soon as well. And then, of course, we had some very big news on the NETosis front, and also, of course, on our presentation at ESMO. So a lot going on this quarter.
And on that front, the ESMO, I did see that you had a poster there, and there's also been a webinar based on that. Tell me a bit more about that. But for the uninitiated, you might want to say to people, what is ESMO?
Yes, ESMO is the European Society of Medical Oncology, Cancer, and obviously a very big conference. The holy grail of medicine is having a low-cost test for cancer that can detect early, and obviously we've got some good products so far, but the ability we have now to concentrate the chromatin is very exciting. So we're not looking for the needle in the haystack, we can pull the needles out, and we think it's probably going to be the must-have in oncology. So we've done a lot of work on it, the product itself, and we thought a webinar was a good way to get it beyond the people who were at ESMO to the wider community. So I'm very happy.
So wow, I've been following Volition for about 7 years now, and this, obviously things have changed in all aspects of the business, but this seems like a big breakthrough.
Yes, the Nu.Q platform we have is very useful in a wide range of areas, including in vet, but this is a massive breakthrough, and it's everything we've wanted to happen in the last 13 years of the company. So now we've presented it. We've got a lot of very good responses from actually everyone we had on our target list of companies we wanted to talk to. I think there's a very good chance this is far, far bigger than us. We're not a very big company, and this is potentially an absolute blockbuster must-have. So we're now in the process of talking to a range of different parties, liquid biopsy companies, large diagnostic companies, and we think what we're in the process of doing is seeing how we can get it licensed and out there as quickly as possible. And we'd very much like to have milestone payments as well as royalties, so we get a good share of the back end as well. And
you mentioned earlier on about the NETosis sort of situation. Give us a bit more detail around that.
Yes, we've been working closely and discussing with the FDA, as we've talked about, and we've just in the last couple of weeks, we've got a clear path from them. As we talked about last time, we're either looking for a BDD or a clear path through a 510K. Very happy to announce we have what looks like a very clear path to FDA approval, so that's fantastic. And also, not just regulatory-wise, I was in the Athens meeting where the best key opinion leaders we could have possibly hoped for, people who wrote the Sepsis 3 definition, medical professionals at the really heart of sepsis, and it was really touching. They were incredibly keen on our product and what we do, and we all agree it should be a fantastic product that should help millions and millions of people worldwide. So we're now in the process of working out how best we can commercialize this around the world.
Okay, Cameron, well, stay with us because we're going to hear more about the finances in a moment, but also about Volition Veterinary, because earlier I was able to catch up with Dr. Tom Butera, who of course is CEO of Volition Veterinary. And I'm talking to Dr. Tom Butera, Chief Executive Officer of Volition Veterinary here in the UK, because we're on our way to the London Vet Show. And Tom, quite an announcement in the UK and Ireland on the Nu.Q Vet Cancer Test.
Yeah, Nick, I'm absolutely delighted to be here in the UK, and we are attending the London Vet Show this week. This is actually our third year attending the show, and they have been asking about our test for the last 2 years, and we are so happy to announce that we are launching the Nu.Q Vet Cancer Test in 2 major reference laboratories. One of them is Nationwide Laboratories, and the other one is the Veterinary Pathology Group called VPG, which is another excellent reference laboratory as well. We're very excited about that, and we will have extensive coverage of our test throughout the UK.
So Tom, a ripple of excitement going to be going around the London Vet Show following that announcement, but there's more to talk about as well.
Yeah, there is, Nick. We have both Dr. Sue Ettinger and also Dr. Rebecca Timmons speaking at the show. We actually have 3 lectures that we're presenting to the doctors here, and interestingly enough, which we're delighted about, the Royal Veterinary College invited us to speak at one of those lectures. So great presence for us. The show is close to 20% of the veterinarians in the UK will visit the London Vet Show. So it's a great opportunity for us to communicate to the doctors in the UK and to let them know that now the test is available for their use.
And of course, we'll be bringing reports from that London Vet Show, so watch out on the Volition website and also on the different outlets. Heska and IDEX, any news on those announcements, obviously, that are moving on now?
Yeah, let's talk about IDEX first. IDEX is continuing to ramp up in terms of their distribution channels, both in the US as well as internationally. We've been working with them on a number of additional marketing opportunities and getting more awareness and presence about the test. They're highly engaged with us. We love the partnership that we have with them, and the expansion that they're working on with us right now is palpably exciting. With regards to Heska, I'm sure you're aware that the Mars Veterinary Group purchased Heska several months ago. So we have been working diligently with Heska, and now with Mars and Heska, to continue our work on the point of care. And a little bit of information about the point of care. Back in January, when we originally introduced the concept of a point of care test, which was only about 10 months ago, we have been working, significant time and input has been put into looking at the point of care. This is the first time, from a tech point of view, that a tech transfer has actually occurred from a reference lab plate, we call it the ELISA plate, which is routinely used for both our test as well as a number of other tests that reference laboratories provide, to a point of care instrument. And just for our audience again, point of care instrument is something that will be used directly in the veterinary hospitals. This takes time, and because it's the first time it's ever been done, it's taken longer than we expected, but to that point, within a 12-month period of time, to start with something like that that's so new and transfer it from a reference laboratory to a point of care and being able to accomplish it in a 12-month period of time, that is a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment. And we're very excited about it.
So that said, Tom, would you say, if I'm an investor looking in or even a veterinarian watching this, I mean, you are where you want to be at the moment?
You know, Nick, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. We are never where we want to be until we have worldwide distribution of our Nu.Q test platform. Then we will start to be where we want to be. But in the interim period of time, we are working to expand our labs. We've talked already about the UK. We're expanding reference labs there. We're expanding into Asia. We are going to be launching with Vita Genomics in Taiwan, and that will be occurring at the very beginning of January 2024. And we are also expanding with a major diagnostic lab in Japan, and that also will be in the first part of 2024. So we're extremely excited, both from the reference lab standpoint and the upcoming launch of the point of care test, where we have both tests available to our audience and to our colleagues to be able to use to detect screening early. And we couldn't be happier in terms of where we are, but we will never be satisfied until we have worldwide distribution, and we are on that path to accomplish that.
Okay, Dr. Tom Butera, thank you very much for joining us. And time now to bring in Terig Hughes. He's the Chief Financial Officer for the group, for the Volition Group, who's going to talk to us about the all-important numbers. And Terig, I guess your headline here is strong progress when we're talking about revenue.
That's right, Nick. Year to date, through the third quarter, we had 185% revenue growth, which was driven by a 5-fold increase in the vet revenues and 38% growth in our Nu.Q Discover revenue. This represents steady growth, but not yet the ramp that we anticipate. We do expect revenues to accelerate towards the end of this year and into early 2024 as we bring on additional distributors of the Nu.Q Vet Cancer Test.
And what about the question of costs and expenses, Terig? Where are we on that?
Well, as expected, expenditures did increase in comparison to the third quarter of 2022, with net cash used in operating activities of $8.4 million, which included payments of almost $1 million towards our clinical trial activities in the US, which we have since wound down due to successful completion of the first phase. As ever, and particularly given the current macroeconomic conditions, we remain committed to careful expenditure and tight budget control. And to that end, we have recently completed a rationalisation project and identified annualised cost savings of approximately $2 million, including a reduction of our overall headcount. It's a balance between investing in our product launches to drive future revenue growth and preservation of our scarce capital.
So let's look into the future. How do you see the overall picture shaping up financial-wise?
So we ended the quarter with cash of $10.8 million, which compared with $10.9 million at the end of 2022. Since quarter end, the regional government bodies of the Walloon region of Belgium approved additional funding of approximately $6 million. And we're also expecting further amounts from other Belgian agencies to be secured in Q1. We've also expanded our efforts with respect to non-dilutive funding to the US with the aim of funding some of our major programs through either non-dilutive or project financing, which we anticipate could potentially be upwards of $25 million over the next 2 years. We also expect to receive a further $13 million in milestone payments from Heska Corporation, now an Antech company. Clearly, this is a challenging macroeconomic environment. However, I feel that we are very well placed with the capital that we have on hand and the near-term incoming funds that we are expecting to be able to execute on the plans that the team has towards the end of this year and into 2024.
So thanks there to Terig for a financial roundup. From a company-wide roundup, Cameron, what have we got to say at the end of this?
So I think we've covered very much the exciting breakthrough in transcription factors, all the great progress in NETosis, and the update on the vet side. But I think given the current financial situation and what's been going on worldwide, we're obviously keeping a very close eye on all of that. And as Terig outlined, we have line of sight now of over $20 million from the Belgian governments, as well as from payments from Heska for the milestone payments. But beyond that, and beyond tightening the belts as well, we wanted to get a strategy to make each one of the pillars, the 4 main pillars, cash flow positive through 2025. So the 4 pillars: Discover, we expect to double in revenue next year and be cash flow generative in 2025, so that's good. The vet program, given the milestone payments, we've got 18 million more outstanding, and the vet ramp, which we expect to really kick in late this year and next year, that should well be revenue positive from this year, from 2024. And then of course we have human oncology, which we've had a lot of interest in licensing it out. As we said, it's bigger than us. We are very keen to get deals where we can get milestone payments up fronts and then a good share of the revenue going forward. So it's very plausible. That's also revenue positive this coming year or 2025. And then of course NETosis. We've got a clear path with the FDA. And to fund that, we're looking now, we've applied for some very large government funding, both in the US and in Europe, for over $25 million. We'll see how that goes. And we're also packaging up so that we could also work with another partner to project finance that as well. So I think we have a very good strategy now in those 4 areas to become cash flow positive in 2025. And some of them will be cash flow positive this coming year itself. So I think that's very important given our climate, and it's something we're putting a lot of effort into because we very much realise the times we're living in.
Thanks very much, Cameron, as always, for bringing us up to date. And we've said we're here in the UK because we are heading off to the London Vet Show. And if you want to meet the Volition veterinary team, come along to their stand. There are also going to be talks there, and we'll be bringing you reports following that event. But for the time being, from Cameron Reynolds, President and CEO, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you everyone for listening.